So sometimes it's actually good to have low expectations, and I'm going to be honest, when I went into this episode of How to Get Away with Murder, the mid-season premiere, I was like, I didn't really have a lot of expectations, you know? And the people behind the show kept tweeting out that the title of the show was called He's Dead. And I was like, I have no idea who they're talking about. I was like, maybe it's Laurel's baby. I don't know. I didn't think too much about it. I was like, obviously we know who it is now, but I just didn't care because for me, the show has not been that great lately. And it's not a show that I think is terrible or a show that I've considered stopping to watch, but I just think it isn't up to the standard that it was when it first started. But honestly, that all changed with this episode. I felt like this episode was so incredible. There were so many bombshells, and I'm just going to start with the Dominic one. So for so long and in so many of the chats that I've done for this show, people have asked me, who did Wes call? I think it was the day of his murder, and identified himself as Kristoff and said he needed help. And there was even people who thought that it had been revealed in the show, and I was like, I don't think it has. But they finally resolved this after so long. And the weird thing is that person is Dominic. The even weirder thing is that Dominic knew him as Kristoff, and what is up with that? Because we know that Kristoff was not even a name that anyone involved in the Keating Five called him, or anyone like in his life as we knew him called him. It was like what his mom called him and like back in the day. So what is this relationship between Wes and Dominic? I mean, it still doesn't take away the fact that Dominic killed him, but it's so much more interesting now that we know they had a relationship, that Wes felt like he was someone who could help him. So my question in all of this is, were they friends from like a long time ago? Did Dominic get close to him because he knew he was going to have to eventually kill him? Was Dominic either hired or blackmailed to kill Wes because of his relationship, friendship with him he'd had for several years? Like, what is going on with that? So I almost felt bad for him when Frank was killing him, but even though he did kill Wes, it's like there's way more to him. And even Laurel was kind of taken up for him, and she was being like, you know, he just does what my dad tells him. Like, there's more to it, you know, like he's not a terrible person or whatever. I was surprised she was saying that because he killed Wes, but you know, I do think there's more to the story, and it made me so mad when he was revealed as Wes's killer, because it was basically like a random was being revealed as killing the star of the show, and I could not understand why they wanted to do this, why they wanted to make it a hitman situation, why they wouldn't make it someone that we knew and could have guessed or theorized about. But now it's just getting like way more juicy. Okay, speaking of juicy, Simon didn't die. I didn't see that coming, but with this show, there's a lot of things you never see coming, and that's a good thing. There's a lot of issues with this though, because if he wakes up from everything and he remembers everything, everyone is screwed because he will tell the truth. So I don't know how they're going to play this out. I could definitely see them saying, one, he had like a selective memory loss. Basically, he was traumatized the evening that all of this went down and he forgot like all of those events. Or number two, somebody has to go in involved with Annalise and mess with his like IV or do something to him to medically have him go down, like where it looks like, oh, he just was doing better, but now he's not going to make it, or he is actually straight up murdered by someone like Frank. I mean, they are in big trouble here, so I just think there's a lot of different ways that this can play out. I don't think it necessarily means that because he is still alive that everyone is going to go to jail because he's going to wake up, remember everything, tell on them, and that's the end of that. That's not going to happen. That's probably the least likely to happen. We found out for sure that Frank was not Laurel's baby's daddy. We're pretty sure it's Wes. But some stuff that was brought up as we had the live chat this week, and I'm going to have a live How to Get Away with Murder chat every week, just a heads up. Like maybe there was more to it. I think it was Ralph that mentioned this in the chat. Maybe there was more to, like maybe there was a relationship between Wes and Laurel's dad. Beyond, like, I think everyone assumed that he was just a racist guy and didn't want her to be with him because he was freaking racist. But maybe he actually knew him. Like, why did his associate Dominic know of him as Kristoff? Did her dad know of him back in the day? Like, what is up with that? Like, is her dad tied into, like, the shady people, like his real dad and that shady family? I don't know. That's some shady stuff. I've always disliked Laurel's dad being, like, the focus of the show for the past couple of seasons. But maybe they're going to, like, mesh it all together and it's going to make way more sense. But I really thought that this episode was one of the best they had done in so long, probably like in 2 years. I was just like blown away. Probably one of the best since the episode where Frank was going to kill himself and I was literally losing my mind because I didn't want him to do it. We also had this Bonnie-Nate hookup. Supposedly, it was implied. I don't know if that went down. Nate's like the most useless character ever, so I think he's just basically eye candy. And we had Asher basically putting himself in jail for saying that he picked up the gun, which I think was smart of him because his DNA was on the gun. He knew they would find that, and he just said he did it because he was in shock, and I think everything's going to work out for him. But I am just really excited for this season. I was definitely thinking, along with Annalise, that her dad was going to kill the baby. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I don't really see them going there. That's just super gory and just out of control. So I don't think he will kill the baby or have the baby killed, but it's shady that he's having the baby moved, and I don't trust him. If you are new here and you're a fan of How to Get Away with Murder, I'm covering all of this season. So please thumbs up this video and please subscribe because I'm a super fan of the show and I love to theorize about it, and hopefully you'll want to keep seeing my videos, so subscribe and turn on the bell so you will know when I upload a new video. But I hope 2018 is off to a great start for you guys. I really look forward to this season of How to Get Away with Murder and to talking to all of you guys who love it as much as I do. So talk to you soon. Bye. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Kelly TV. I would love for you to subscribe and be a part of the Kelly TV family. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter so you can keep up with all I'm doing.